to get situated in our classrooms. We are looking forward to seeing you virtually, and we're looking forward to seeing you in school. I do request that you keep yourselves muted. It just helps with feedback, and sometimes background noise can be very distracting. If you take a look down on the bottom right end of your screen, you'll see that you have the opportunity to turn on closed captions. I tend to keep my closed captioning on when I'm in a Zoom or a Google Meet. It helps me follow the conversation. Sometimes I get lost when I try to listen. So reading sometimes helps me. It's not necessary that you may or may not need it, but you might find that it helps you stay focused. We're going to go through 3 things. And at the end of 3 things today, you'll see the chat and you'll have the opportunity to pose questions. And we're going to go from there. Thumbs up if you're ready to go. Excellent. See how easy that is? Like we're totally all ready for school. All right, so I'm going to present my screen. I'm going to present my entire screen. This is somewhat like talking to myself, but somewhat not. I might ask you to like laugh at some point, so I know you're still listening. Okay, so I'm going to start with the Genesis Parent Portal. I have the good fortune of having a child who attends our high school. I have his permission to, people are still coming in, to use his Genesis account. And I think it's important for parents to see how Genesis is utilized, especially if you are an incoming 6th grader or new to our school and you're unfamiliar with Genesis. Each school has a login and an icon right from our main page. Genesis does not have a phone app. It's one of the few programs that we do utilize that we cannot use an app for. Although it might make some things easier, there's a lot of personal information that's warehoused in Genesis. It's our Student Management System, or SMS, and I guess that they choose not to potentially have that compromised at all. So there is not an app for Genesis. But when you log in to your parent access, and your child or children will come up. That's my very handsome son, who's going to be a senior. And if you take a look, the top tabs are the important tabs. In the summary tab, I can find my son's schedule, and I can look at the list view like our list view shows. There are some differences between the middle school and the high school, but when you click on the list view, I can look at the semester or the days. In our high school, they are on a 5-day or Monday through Friday cycle, if you will. And in the middle school, you'll see letters, A or B. When we transition back into our full day schedule, that lingo will start to make sense to our 6th grade and new families. It's a little confusing, I know, right now because we're in our hybrid model, but we'll continue to help everybody work through those things. So you have access to your child's schedule. You have access to your child's counselor and their email address and other important information. For new families and for families whose children may forget their Chromebook password, our students are known by their student ID. This is their special number. So when we go to set you up in our Chromebook, and I'll be sending out directions to our new families, the student ID is the number that our students should really begin to memorize because it's the number that is used in their actual student email. And if you forget or your kid forgets, it's the student ID, not the state ID. Attendance is an important tab for our families. This is where you can track your child's attendance. You'll see that the weekends are already blocked out, as are holidays. In the event that we had a snow day or some other thing occur, the calendar would represent that. When you call your child out sick, there is a code that we use, and you will always be able to see that on the other end of Genesis. So this is where attendance is taken. There is no specific homeroom forward this year. Homeroom attendance will be taken in period 1 when students have period 1, or period 2 when we have period 2. So Mondays and Thursdays, period 1, Tuesdays and Fridays, period 2, and then Wednesdays will come from either the period 1 or the period 2 class. That was one fewer movement that our students had to make. So there's no homeroom teacher, there's no homeroom class. Children just go to period 1 or log into period 1, go to period 2, log into period 2, and that's how your attendance is taken. So that is where your attendance is housed. Next. So gradebooks are active, and when our families log in and you click on the grading tab, you'll be able to pull up, or students, if you have access to your parents' Genesis, you'll be able to pull up your schedule. You can see the name of your teacher and their email address is right there. So you don't have to try to figure out anybody's last name, spelling, or find emails. It's all right here for you. This is another report card view where you'll be able to see grades as they accumulate. But the specific grade book starting on Tuesday is where you'll see either a weekly summary of assignments or the list of assignments. So the first official day of school is next Tuesday, September 8th, and our teachers will start listing assignments, and that is where you might see a list of assignments and any grade that is attached to that here in Genesis. And eventually everything will populate to create marking period grades and final grades. In middle school, we don't worry about exams because we don't have them, and we do not have credits attached to our course. So that's not anything that you would see in the middle school. The next important tab is our forms tab. So I have some middle school students I keep assigned to me so I can always kind of see what else is important. Here is where you will find important forms that include the parent and student device maintenance agreement. And when you scroll all the way down, I mean, I'm sure you'll read it. I didn't because didn't need to because I work here. But if you read it, which you should always know what you're signing, students too. You agree at the bottom and then, or disagree. And when you're finished, it might not show because I have the stop sharing thing. There's a submit button at the bottom. This tab is important, families, because this is where the COVID form is going to be populated for daily use by our families for our students. I think they're still working out the particulars on how to remind families to do that, but you'll log into Genesis in the morning and you'll click on forms and you'll submit the form. Again, it'll be a 4 or 5 question form that will be submitted through Genesis. And because Genesis is our student management system, that is where the information will be housed and cataloged. We can run reports in the event that families have forgotten or somebody forgot for a day. Whether or not you get a friendly little text message reminder, I'm not just sure yet. We're trying to make things seamless and consistent, especially when we have children in multiple schools. So if you wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and your phone buzzes every 3 minutes, you might want to throw your phone. We don't want anybody to get frustrated, but we need to make sure that we're doing what we need to do on our end as well, as seamlessly and as easily as possible. So just something to be mindful of. So the important tabs: summary for schedule, grading and gradebook for grades, primarily gradebook once we get started, forms, and attendance. I'm sure no one will ever have any need to click on the discipline tab, but if you do, in the event that there is a misstep or a mistake that we need to catalog that might warrant restorative community service or maybe even a detention or anything more involved, all of that information is housed in Genesis. So I'm going to stop talking for a minute, let you process, and then please place any Genesis specific questions in the chat, and I will answer them momentarily. So apparently you can't share your screen and let people in the session at the same time. So that's a good thing to know. Thank you, Erin. I can't toggle between, and with Karen not here, I know people are waiting. I apologize for that. Ryan, so we don't document the temps. That would be a HIPAA violation. We just take the temp. So in the event that, this is what the temp looks like. So when we take your temperature, it's roughly a 3-second process from taking one student temp and I say, hi, nice to see you, nice to meet you. We're not writing any temps down. So Dr. Russo and I are taking temps for the adults in the building as well as for our students. Ms. Kocher, Mr. Bickle, Coach Delano, and a few other members of our staff will be helping us with temp checks, as well as making sure that you are socially distanced outside as you funnel into the building. Student assignments will be posted in the grade book. So Noah asked a question. Student assignments will be posted in the grade book. The grading is more specific to the holistic grades, so quarterly grades. So you'll be able to check the grade book out for daily grades. Are the daily schedules in the chat accurate? Elliot, can you help me understand what you're asking?
Yeah, he meant in Genesis.
Okay, so good question. So the master, good question, Elliot. That's a great name. It reminds me of E.T. It's my favorite movie. The master schedule that's in Genesis is our master schedule. It's our 8-period day in what will eventually be non-COVID schedule. In order to have taken our 8-period day with our A-B rotation and try to change it into our hybrid model and then back out into our master was kind of a nightmare. So that's why in the hybrid schedule, Monday, period 1, 3, 5, and 7, our 6th graders would have an A day, possibly on Monday, period 1, and their other period might have been a B day. So to try to make sure to maximize as many staff members as you can possibly see face to face, Monday and Tuesday are both A days. And as I have explained it before, if you have a piece of paper, you're either going to fold it like a hot dog or you're going to fold it like a hamburger. Our schedule is kind of folded like a hamburger and a hot dog. It's in half because we take the same periods, 1, 3, 5, and 7, 2, 4, 6, and 8, and then fold it and then offer them in the afternoon as well in 30-minute increments for our teachers to make sure that our students have relationships and routines established over the first 2 weeks of school. We know that you're going to eat lunch. Some of you have to walk from one end of town to the other. And if you're in at 1:15 or 1:20, that's okay. There's going to be a lot of flexibility built into the afternoon once we hit the week of September 21st, because the first 2 weeks are relationships and routines. Now we fold it like a hot dog on Monday and Tuesday and Thursday and Friday, because we can only do half the class or half our schedule on one day and then the other end of the bun or the other end of the hot dog or the other end of the schedule on the next day. So if you think of our schedule in terms of a hot dog, we're folding it in half. 1, 3, 5, 7 on Monday, 2, 4, 6, 8 on Tuesday, regular-ish world on Wednesday, because we're actually following an 8-period day. And then Thursday and Friday, 1, 3, 5, 7, and then Friday is 2, 4, 6, 8. Which makes it really confusing for next week because we start on Tuesday, but Tuesday's really Monday, and Wednesday's really Tuesday, and then Thursday and Friday are Thursday and Friday. So we like slide to the right, like the dance, slide to the right. Thank you, some of you, for laughing. Okay, how will the schedule work exactly? Nate, help me understand your question, kiddo. Do parents need to take temps at home? So that's going to be on the form. I think that will be communicated, and I think it's also in the road back recovery plan that's online. You would think I would know that off the top of my head right now, but that's not where I am. Monday and Thursday, 1, 3, 5, 7, Julia. Yep. Tuesday, Friday, 2, 4, 6, 8. A and B. So Monday and Tuesday are both A days. Remember, folding your schedule in half. And then Thursday and Friday are both B days. So there might be a teacher who you may not physically meet because you might meet them on the opposite day. When we come back from COVID schedule world, it just rotates. If we start school on a Tuesday and that's an A day, A and B is like a seesaw all year. Never changes. A, B, A, B. But we had to mix it up a little bit for our hybrid schedule so that everybody.
Michelle Barringer, can you please come down to the office? Michelle Barringer.
So that everybody has the opportunity to get in world language, PE, art, tech, all of their classes. Wednesdays. So Wednesdays will be communicated by the teacher in advance. And for most of the time, it will be that an assignment may be due by the end of that period, because you can't be a hot dog and split yourself in half, or a hamburger, or if you're a vegan, neither, tofu, I guess. But your teachers will help communicate that to you so that you know what the expectation is. And again, because we're all in school or virtually in school next week, your teachers will walk you through that. We're not going to have our first full school virtual day until Wednesday the 16th. So when you're in with your teachers next week, and over the course of that week, all of this information will be kind of shared out in small pieces to our students when they're in class with their elective teachers, their special education teachers as well. And their teachers will also be sharing information with me that I will share at home, so that everything will be clear for when we start full virtual school for the following Wednesday. So we are still working on music. We are able to have choir, band, and orchestra. So any student who's interested in that, you should reach out to your counselor. They'll add that to your schedule. But those students won't meet with those teachers until the week of the 14th, just so that we can get our spacing situated. Those 2 periods, every student has 2 periods that fall into sort of a block that either would have been lunch or our intervention and enrichment period. So you will see before Tuesday that your student will have a classroom to go to. It's going to be called a study hall. They'll take attendance and there they will be. For the first 4 weeks of school, those study halls will be used for Dr. Russo and I to meet like this in this capacity with all of our students for administrator student orientation. Your counselors will be meeting with all of the students in whole group situations. We're going to have some guest speakers in during those classes as well to focus on things like mindfulness and wellness, and how to kind of adjust to our new world. And then there'll be opportunities built in for our students to use online programs like IXL to practice math and language arts. We're going to do reading groups and advisories and some other things. So that's what you'll start to see. Dr. Russo and I we know it's important for you to have that on your schedule, but it's a little time consuming on our end. So every time we sit down to try to get it done, it just takes a little bit longer, but it will be there before Tuesday, before you have to log on and step foot into this building. When you are in the virtual world, whether you are fully virtual or live streaming, you don't live stream in the study hall. So that's your lunch break at home. If you have a 5th period study hall in the building, your 5th period when you're at home is your lunch, because you have to eat at some point. But we're not doing lunch or offering lunch in the building. So it has to be something. So that's your study hall. Virtual, so PE and music for virtual learners will be your teacher and our students, and you'll be given different tasks to complete, whether it's a log or walking your hours or creating a walking map or a health menu, all of those kinds of things. Virtual students for music. If I'm Mr. Bader and I'm working on the tambourine is probably about as much as I can handle right now, but like a trombone, you're with your trombone, or he's teaching you a scale in music and you're practicing with him. It's a virtual music lesson. He'll be doing some small group ensembles, and then he'll be doing some larger ensembles as we kind of get started. We have a couple things in the works for some outdoor concert planning. So we're kind of excited about that. It just takes a little time to work on that. PE for hybrid students, you'll be checking in with your teachers and you'll have live instruction with them, and they're going to send you all that information through their Google Classrooms as well. We're going to try to explore or experiment some like virtual walks and kind of see how that goes, but we're practicing that with each other still. But that's kind of like some of our plan, and scavenger hunts and those kinds of things. All right, I'm going to scroll up to the beginning and see what I may have missed. So good question. Did I understand correctly that the gradebook tab will show each graded assignment to be completed and grade once completed? So if I'm a teacher and I have 7 assignments, I input the 7 assignments, or I might input 1 assignment at a time so that my students know that they have an assignment, or the parents know that they have assignment, and then eventually it will be graded. So assignments, sometimes teachers, I was never one of these people, but sometimes teachers can sometimes teachers can plan for like the whole quarter and put in everything and then grade it as it gets turned in or done. Some teachers might say, hey, Grace, you have a quiz on Thursday and I put it in, but I might not get the quiz graded until Monday. But the assessment is in there, chapter 1, geography, and it'll be graded. Nothing should take longer than 2 weeks at the very most to be graded. If anything does, you reach out to me and let me know. You will see formative assessment, like quick quizzes and some of that stuff in Google Classroom for immediate feedback, and teachers will translate that into Genesis. Sometimes it will populate seamlessly because there is a way to connect, or our Genesis is connected to Google Classroom for certain things. But if you know your child took a test at 2 o'clock and you're really anxious about the score and you want that graded by 3, that's not likely to happen if it's a bigger assignment or assessment. So breathe. Usually takes a couple days to kind of assess those kinds of things. The virtual platform makes some of that assessment immediate, and then translating it into Genesis. But everything has to be put in Genesis. Every grade, every attendance bit, all of that stuff, because that's where you keep your permanent record. Student ID is the same. Yes, Harry, I think. I'm pretty sure yes, because when our students transition over, Mrs. Miller hasn't had to make any changes. So your student ID is the same. Email is the same, yes. So your 12345.students@Haddonfield, blah, blah, blah. That's all the same. Okay, Melissa, good question. From September 8th through September 18th, from September 8th through September 18th, those PM sessions are mandatory. Our students need to develop relationships with their teachers. I mean, and your principals too, but teachers and counselors and your routines. So those things are mandatory. I need to say, hey, Grace, I'm picking on you because I know you and I can see you. So Grace, can you show me in Google Chat that you know where to find your Screencastify icon? Or Samantha, now I can see you, I'm gonna pick on you. So, and your mom. Hi, Samantha's mom. So Samantha, can you repeat back to me my directions for checking in on an exit ticket? So those 30 minutes next week and the week after are critical, because until we set you free to have a little bit more teacher discretion, we have to know that you know how to access things, where to look. You know, your parents are family members, caretakers are getting bombarded with information. Phone calls, texts, emails, phone calls, everything simultaneously at once. It's a lot to process. It's a lot to process for you. It's a lot to process if you're only virtual. It's a lot to process if you're half virtual and when you're coming in. And then your parents and caregivers have maybe other siblings in their own worlds to kind of figure out. That's why those 2 weeks are there, to make sure that we all have this to practice and to kind of test each other and kind of make sure that we're like, hey, you're not just some like emoji on the other side of the screen. We need to develop that relationship, and that will be established in those 2 weeks. And then starting the week of the 21st, I might say, I need Queen, Audrey, Harry, and Sinjin to meet with me from 2 to 2:15, and then they're going to go work on their project together. They're going to go read their chapter. And then I need Maeve and Max to meet with me from 2:30 to 3 o'clock, because we need to go over something. It'll be discretionary. But those first 2 weeks, gang, are critical. And it's okay if you're like eating your lunch and you're not logging on at 1. Like there's a lot. Like you might log on at 8 and be sitting there for 10 minutes because the entire country is like logging on to Google Classroom, I'm pretty sure next Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the morning. If something doesn't go wrong, I'm going to go buy a lottery ticket for 700 of us, and we're all going to scratch off and probably win $1 million. I'll be shocked, but we're going to like fingers crossed and kind of, get started there. So just a little, patience and flexibility, and we'll be all good. Okay. So remember, when you look in your daily view, our hybrid schedule is modified so that we're doing odds and evens. Odds 1, 3, 5, 7 Monday and Thursday. Evens 2, 4, 6, 8 Tuesday and Friday. Wednesday it's 1 through 8. You won't see period 3 on your schedule yet, because that'll probably become a study hall unless it eventually becomes a music class. That'll be on there before Tuesday. So content is a course that, Steve, I can offer you some more specific information. I'll email that to you. It's in our course of studies. And I'll share that with you so that you can see exactly what that is, and that Mrs. Weiss teaches that. So I'll give you some more information on that later. Other schedule questions. I haven't talked this much in like a long time. My throat's all dry. And I'm Italian. I talk a lot. 4 different classes in period 8. Good question, Maeve. So when you, I don't want to mess you up. Maeve, can I pull up your schedule? Are you okay if I bring up your schedule on Genesis for everybody to see? You sure? I know the Nortons really well, so we're good on that. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to log in from my administrative access, and then I'm going to share my screen. This is a good time to take a stretch break. Everybody stand up and stretch. And then I'll bring up Maeve's schedule and we'll look for a few things. Get up and stretch. Everybody's been sitting too long. You're probably sick of hearing me talk. Okay. Everybody take a stretch break. Come on. Grace, take a stretch break. Thank you. There we go. Aw, dogs. Oh, I love families with dogs. My dog is mad at me because I haven't been home in like 3 months. All right, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to bring up my new friend Maeve's schedule. This will probably help too. So this is a 6th grade schedule, and you can see here that for the entire year, our 6th graders will have either world language, they might have supplemental reading. This is where content might be had as well, typically on B days. But it rotates with physical education. In the state of New Jersey, all students are required to have 3 PE classes and 1 health class, a full year. That's why you see 4 classes. Period 1 on B days stays the same all year, but it changes. Quarter 1 will always be an A day, but this PE will always be an A day, but it might be with a different teacher. And then in your quarter 3, Maeve, and this applies to all students will have a quarter of health in their schedule. So that's why it looks like you have multiple courses, but it's really the same course offered on the same day because it has to rotate. A, B, A, B, A, B. Same thing here. Semester 1, you're going to make movies, Maeve, video production on A day for the whole first semester. That's the first 90 days of school, which will rotate with Miss G for art, Miss G for art on B day, A, B, A, B. Then it'll change in the second semester. We remind all of our families when this change occurs with principles in engineering, which will rotate with tech. There's your A and your B. So you can see why we have to fold our schedule into a hot dog to be able to work on the hybrid model that was approved in our district. So 1, 3, 5 is missing, and here will go a study hall for Maeve, and 7. And then when she comes in for our even days, we do 2, which isn't in here, will be a study hall as well, 4, 6, and 8. Thank you, Maeve, for letting me share your schedule. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. When we return to like whatever version of normal that is in a full day, we will revert all of the study schedules back to the way they're supposed to look, our students will maintain their same teachers. The periods may change, but the teachers will not. So when we have to replace and put back in lunch, the teachers will stay the same and lunch will get back, will be replaced, and Bulldog Block will come back, and we go back to our A and B seesaw. The free period, Julie, for period 1 will turn into a study hall. And then when your child reports to study hall, then homeroom attendance will be taken there. That'll all be added before Tuesday. So Grace, good question. So you're in school for that half day and you're meeting your teachers, 60-minute classes, 5-minute or 4-minute passing time. Go home, have lunch, in your case, coffee with caramel whipped cream. And then, because that's what Grace likes, she never brings me one. And then you're going to log back on in the afternoon with those same classes. It's the same classes, the same teacher. Eventually, after a couple of weeks, they'll tell you if you have to be there or not. So yes, the rest of that afternoon would be online. Jackson, no. So that study period is only built in when we are doing our Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Next week on the 16th, because I can't remember what the dates are, or 2 weeks on the 16th, when we run Wednesday, your scheduled lunch will probably be 5th period for you because you're a 7th grader, and your brother will either be 4th period or 5th period. So they're our regular lunch periods. Otherwise, that would be breakfast. Welcome. Okay, Melissa, your core classes, English or language arts, social studies, math, and science will have required at least 15 to 20 minutes of meet time on Wednesdays. In 8th grade, it's also world language, because in 8th grade, you're taking the first level, most students, not all students, of that language. That's also considered a core class. It's about 15 to 20 minutes. Then you'll be doing independent work, creating a flip grid, answering an exit ticket, reading. So our teachers know that getting into that rhythm, in addition to giving eye breaks, like my eyes right now, I feel like they might fall out of my head. My eyes hurt. I did not think that was like a possibility, but they do. But to make sure that that doesn't happen to you, you'll have your lunch built into your schedule in addition to a study hall. There's nothing that you do during a study hall when we're on the Wednesday virtual schedule other than probably go outside, color, take a breather, have some ice cream, something to kind of like take a little bit of a break. Because
anyone from maintenance, please go to the nurse's bathroom immediately. Water is overflowing.
So I'm going to pause for a minute, because this is what's going to happen. We're going to have a meta moment, families, my students and my parents. When that happens, because it's going to inevitably happen, what is your reaction on the other end? Like, you just pause with it? You can unmute yourself and answer. Anybody want to talk? Lay it on me.
Yes.
No? Change your mind? Elliot, go ahead. Tell me. So you couldn't hear it. So Julie, you couldn't hear what was said? No. Okay. Did you hear the beep in the background? You could hear what was said. I guess it probably depends on your speaker quality. Okay. So what if that were a fire drill? You're on the other end of the computer and the fire drill goes off. What do you think you should do? Oh, Julie's mom. Thank you. Run. Well, you're at home, so you wouldn't have to do that. I don't run ever. That's like the stuff that we have to work out. Like what happens when there's a PA system thing. But you could hear it. Some of you could hear it loud and clear. Okay. Stop, drop, and roll. Well, I'm glad you pay attention to that. All right. Let's go back to, it won't spread through the screen. I promise you that. You'll be home most of the time. Anyway, it's been a long day. Focus. All right. So any other schedule questions? We've been through Genesis. We've been through attendance. I'm going to show families one more thing before we go. And again, Maeve, thank you for letting me share your schedule, kiddo. All right, so what we've put together, we've shared this out once and we're going to share it out again. And I'm going to share my screen. So we have created for our families an HMS online programs bookshelf. We're going to continue to send this out. We're going to try to get this linked to our website so that when our kids come home and they have something that they need to do, or when they're at home and a direction is given to use a GIM kit or to log on to Nearpod, and you're like, I don't even know what this is. I've never heard of it. This is our bookshelf where you can click to get information and a video, very brief. So we're appealing to families who would rather like listen and follow the steps as they go along or read. All of our faculty and staff put this together. For right now, it's important that everybody understands Google Meet. Following Google Meet, all of these other things are secondary programs that will be built in to the Google Meet. Many families are familiar with IXL and some of the other games like GimKit and Kahoot that are used to kind of help students in a fun way check their understanding and see what they know. Some of our teachers are going to be using interactive slides for note-taking through Nearpod. Screencastify is like my best friend. We spend a lot of time doing Screencastify because they upload quickly to YouTube. But this is for our families and our students as mini tutorials that anything that we're going to use, and this is primarily it, we've developed a bookshelf to share with you so that you have these resources at your disposal to help. So with that, if I missed any question, I'm going to go through all of the questions and create an FAQ, but the full curriculum our teachers have been working on to make sure that we're creating situations that are digestible, engaging, and relative. This is new for everyone, and there's always a fear that we're never going to get anything done or we're never going to get through things, and teachers feel that pressure anyway. But we've been working to do things that are appropriately paced for all of our different learners and all of the different ways that we're going to engage our students. So we'll make sure that anything and everything that we need to do is done in a way that is both tangible, but also relevant and useful for all of our learners. Monday and Tuesday are always A days. So Tuesday, September 8th is ignore Genesis. So Genesis is our master schedule. The hybrid that we've been sending home and suggesting families kind of plot in and create their own schedule from Genesis. Monday and Tuesday are always A days. Thursday and Friday are always B days. The students move from class to class. Teachers stay in one class. The students move. We have socially distanced regulators. We have hall monitors. We have one-way traffic arrows. all of those kinds of things. So Patrick, so the hybrid learners, the students who are full remote, log in the morning with their full classmates, and they follow that same schedule, 1357 2468. So you'll be ready to rock and roll at 8 a.m. on Tuesday with your period 1. You're welcome. Correct, Melissa. They go to their core periods for their assigned core periods, and then the A and B rotation with their elective teachers, they'll let them know in advance what to expect. It might be that they have to submit an assignment or watch a video, but it's not going to be as much contact face-to-face time. We felt that based on all the feedback that we received, that the primary focus would be for right now in those core subject areas. Yep, so don't worry about anything that's missing. If you're missing a period 3 or a period 5, a period 2, probably a period 8 or a 6, that'll all be done before Tuesday. You'll have a study hall appear on your schedule. Face shield or face mask. Some might wear both. I have a mask. I can't find my Grinch mask, but I'll have it for next week. Some teachers might wear a mask and just a mask. Some teachers might wear a mask and a shield, but the mask and the shield makes you hear yourself talk, like when you used to do that. So it's a strange kind of feeling and weird to get used to, but some teachers are more comfortable like this. There are some teachers, I'm not going to lift that because I don't work out. I won't pretend. There are some teachers who have kind of like I have a plexiglass. So if a student comes to talk to me, I keep my mask on, but there's also a plexiglass barrier. And some, hold on, not that you're going anywhere. In some classes between the desks, there are sneeze guards that have a piece of plastic in front of it. I happen to grab the one that's just on the top that somebody took apart, figures. But there are some classes that have this as an apparatus as well, usually in science classes and that kind of thing. So, different classrooms are outfitted in different ways to maintain our social distancing. But you come with the mask or a face covering and we're going to be all set and ready to go. Yeah, so the teachers will be masked. So the teachers won't be masked on Wednesdays when they're like at home, but when our students are live streaming in, because you're live streaming into the actual class where teachers are teaching, our teachers will be wearing their mask and or their shield. So, Melissa, Monday won't necessarily always be A day and Tuesday B day. Remember, Monday and Tuesday are both A days and Thursday and Friday are both B days. When that changes, we'll communicate that, but that won't change until we return to our regular schedule. So students will know what to do for each period. If they're logging in from home, you should start to see invitations into your Google Classroom. And I can share my screen so that you can see where you would look when you're in your Drive. And I click on Google Classroom. So you're in Drive and you're in Google Classroom and you can see all of the classes that I've been invited to because I am linked into all the classes. So it works the same for you. So when you log on to your Chromebook using your school account and you go into your Google Drive and you click on Google Classrooms, you should start to see the invitations into Google Classes as well as where the meets are. If come Sunday night or early Monday morning, that stuff still isn't there, pull up your schedule in Genesis and email your teacher directly and ask your teacher if you missed the Google Meet link or maybe they forgot to send it, but email your teacher directly. No B classes on Monday and Tuesday. B days are only.
City custodian, please come down to the main office, city custodian.
Mindfulness. We're all practicing mindfulness. So it's Mondays and Tuesdays are A days, Thursdays and Fridays are B days. How do you log into the Chromebook? So the same way that, Melissa, I don't want to be like, are you a new student, Melissa? Or have been here? If you've been here, you'll log in the same way. If you're new, all of our new families are going to get information in their email, hopefully within the next day. Any other questions? Yeah, so Mike is new. I'm going to send home the information, Melissa, so that you'll know how to do that. It's like 3 or 4 steps. So I'll take care of you. Give me maybe before dinner time, I'll try to get that to you so you have it. Oh, you're welcome, Ryan. It's nice to see people. I can't wait to see all of you in some version or other. You're welcome. All right, so unless anybody else has any questions, so yes, the Chromebook agreement does get filled out every year. That is something that they do every year. You're welcome. Grace, you're welcome. Thank you for letting me pick on you. Thank your mom for letting me pick on you. We did the walk-by intros earlier. So we'll have more intros on Tuesday. And then for our virtual students who may not have met us yet either, we'll plan something again for next week. Because I have plenty of Mr. Softy certificates I need to give out, or I'm going to be eating a lot of Mr. Softy. All right, gang. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, if something wasn't clear, you need a question answered, please send me an email. I'll try to get back to you within a reasonable amount of time. And it's great having you all here, and I really appreciate it. So thank you. And Dr. Russo sends her best too. Bye, gang. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Thank you. Jane, you're welcome. Goodbye. Gina, it's nice to see you too. Oh, you're welcome. Oh, thanks, Miss Burns. You're the best. Mwah. Miss Ettinger, have a good weekend. Miss Vespi, have a good weekend. Now I see all the names popping up. Goodbye, gang. Adios.
Have a good weekend.
You too, Miss Ettinger. Goodbye. I need to go eat lunch because I'm starving. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Don't know how to, now I don't know how to stop.
Bye, everyone.
Let me stop recording. Let me see what happens. Stop recording.